Welcome to EDUrain from the Founders Corner. I am Marcus Onesimus Boston, and today we have on the founders of EDUrain.
Hello, my name is Brian Pearson, and I am a co-founder and the CEO at EDUrain. I'm in charge of marketing, sales, and also like partnerships with different schools and different like tech programs that we work with. And
Hey, I'm Aaron Zhang. I'm currently a senior at WashU studying EE. I'm also a co-founder and a developer at EDUrain.
Wow, shit! What month? What is it? You graduating soon?
Yeah, so I'm graduating this semester.
Congratulations! Round of applause. Congratulations! You excited? You ready to be done with it?
Yeah, so I'm actually taking a look at some master's programs right now. I'm not sure if I want to do more school enough. My parents definitely want me to pursue that route.
So, first question is, what problem does your startup solve?
EDUrain is solving the problem that, 8 million students struggle to find off-campus housing near their college every
Mhm.
year. And then also 2.7 billion, $2.7 billion dollars in financial aid, like government aid and scholarship goes unclaimed every year,
Mhm.
but the average student graduated with $30,000 in student debt. And when we went out and researched how companies are solving these issues, we found that if you create a financial aid platform, you have users create accounts, but they struggle to make money because nobody wants to pay for the chance to get $1,000 grant.
Mhm.
And then whenever we looked at housing companies, student housing companies, um, they struggle to get people to create accounts. But once they do create account, they're easy. They help landlords source tenants. They're
Mhm.
able to monetize that. So we thought if we brought those two together, then we'll be able to help students get financial aid without charging them, without selling their data to whoever.
Mhm.
And with this housing portion, we'd be able to help them find an apartment and a house like no other platform that's ever existed.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. Like I know when I that's something I could have definitely used when I was in college. I didn't go the traditional route, but I mean, if off campus house knowledge is power. So the more the better farther you can usually go. And what you guys have created, man, it's timeless and it's very important. So where you guys located? Like where are you at? In St. Louis City? What part of the world are you located, and why?
We are located here at Cortex at 4220
Mhm.
here in the Central West End.
CWE.
In the Central West End. And the reason why we're here is because we applied to this program called Social Impact, the Social Impact cohort here, and they gave a discounted space to social impact organizations.
Mhm.
And I think like 50 people applied, and we're one of the six that got in.
Wow.
And we had a free office space for 3 months, and then we got discounted leasing
Mhm.
after that, and we went with the co-working space.
Mhm.
And it gives us space and it legitimizes what we're doing,
Mhm.
giving us a corporate office and a corporate
Mhm.
address. And also, like, we're here with VCs that are here in St. Louis,
Right.
some folks that run schools, and other social impact organizations that were already in Cortex as well.
Wow, that's dope. Good old CWE. So how did you guys meet?
It's definitely an Aaron question.
All right, yeah, so this was my sophomore year in college. I remember it was around this time of the year, actually, it was a spring semester. So my friend was telling me about how WashU holds this, it's like a startup event where all the local St. Louis startups just come here and they just like kind of talk to students and maybe offer them like a summer internship or something. And I remember just showing up, and there was like I think 50 startups there or something like that. But it was an entire room, and there were so many kids there. And I talked to like 4 or 5 of them, and like I was about to leave actually because none of them really interested me much.
Mhm.
And then I came across Brian's, and I guess like his idea really, I guess like it really hit home for me
Mhm.
just because at that point what EDUrain was focused on was actually more the scholarships search as well as like the helping students find like get aid portion of it. And so back in high school, at least for me, I went to St. Louis Priory School, so a lot of my friends were very, very intelligent, and so they had worked their asses off for like 4 years in high school, right, and gotten to their dream college and all that. But because of cost reasons, they actually couldn't go, and so that was very sad to see. And so I thought that Brian's mission was great, and that's how we met.
Yeah, missions of the heart are the ones that gives you the fuel to keep going. You just start up something that makes sense. You're solving a problem, but when you find a problem that your heart won't let you not work on, that's when you know you're doing the right thing. It's almost a purpose project.
Right.
So where are you guys at in the process? So where are you guys currently at in the cycle of your company?
So I'm excited to say that this thing's actually made money.
Hey, that's round of applause right there. Bow, bow, bow.
I think a lot of times we're pitching. I mean, we haven't made much money, but we made money on both sides on renters insurance and also people getting signing up to get quotes for renters insurance. Also, we've had some landlords pay us to help them source tenants. That's some really early market validation. And when we pitched EDUrain and for like years, it was like the users and like the story, and now it's like well, here's like what we're doing now. We put on an off-campus housing event virtually at WashU. We want to do that across different colleges in the St. Louis area. We are growing our landlord database. We do have a HubSpot database, about 90 landlords now that we've all individually talked to. I'm sorry, I have individually talked to. And we are just looking to grow our scholarship database and our financial aid capabilities on top of our housing as well.
Side question. Why is that information? Is that information hard to get? Like information about students and housing and the research you guys having to compile and make these choices, is that hard to come by? Could a person like me look up something like that to have an idea of what's moving?
So I guess to answer that question, I guess like all this information is available online, but it's the degree to which and the depth to which you're willing to look, right? So we have a lot of research teams. So because Brian has a lot of connections with WashU, SLU, like all these colleges, we have a lot of like PhD candidates and like people who are in MBA programs that actually will do like a consulting project with us, and what they'll do is some kind of market research into whatever we ask them to look into. And I think that like the power of that is actually it can't be understated, I think, just because like the amount of information that you get from that, which drives our business choices, right, I think is kind of crazy, because there's information that you wouldn't just probably not have ever found by yourself, because these are teams of like 12 people, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people working on these projects.
That community mind is always better than one. It's like music. You have a better song, we in the room together actually listen to beats and writing lyrics than me sing you a track and go back. It might be a hit record, but you know how it feels. You know a song was made. Think about the old school music when they had actual instruments. That hits different than now because you was in the same room playing them chords. It's just something about human beings sharing energy that it shows in the quality of work you get from these students, because they're enjoying the work that they're doing and they feel it's authentic. So you're getting real work through, siphon through information to make your decisions from. That's really dope.
Overcome
or challenges. What the challenge you faced so far, and how have you overcome those things? How we get through, and what are they?
You want to talk about some of the things that you've done, because you're more than just a developer.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not going to touch on any like technical challenges. I'll touch on more. Yeah. I'll. So this was actually last year. I remember when we first started looking into like the housing kind of market, because this was new to us actually, because at first we were back in the day, like we were focused more on just FAFSA scholarships, right? Like whatnot. But housing came onto our radar after we talked to a founder of Avail.co, and they said, with your platform, if you do housing, that's your golden ticket.
They also got bought out. They acquired by Realtor.com,
right?
And now the guy we were talking to is in charge of all rental properties for Realtor.com.
Yeah. So at that point in time, I was actually looking into becoming a real estate agent, and so also we were trying to get proper. So there's this thing called MLS, and basically it stands for like major listing source, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think it's major listing something, but basically it has all of the housing data in like one area. So basically, if you have real estate agents who so basically, when you go and buy a house, right, you go to an agent and they
Mhm.
will list that property for you, and they'll put it up on this like database of
Yeah.
sorts, right? And everyone has access to that.
Mhm.
Well, everyone that's an agent or like pays basically a fee has
Yeah.
access to that, and so
Gotta get some keys to get to this treasure. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
right, right. And so it's the most comprehensive source you're going to find in an area. It's better than it's better than Zillow, I would say, just
Yeah.
because
When you pay for something, you're gonna get. I hope you get what you pay for. You know?
right, right. And so we were trying to get access to that because that's going to give us like the most data we would ever get from any kind of platform.
Mhm.
And
Well,
so
and also we were trying to solve for the chicken and egg problem. Like,
Mhm.
how do you get students if you don't have properties? How do you get landlords if you don't have students? Because before that, it was me and our team member Wesley,
Mhm.
and like I was just like calling these landlords. You should get on here, and they're like, "How many students you got?" I'm like, "I got 90 high school kids." And like, cool, call me back in a year or two when they're in college.
Right. Yeah.
And like we're building this stuff for them in these ways for them to put their properties on there, and it's going terrible. So,
yeah, right.
so
But yeah, so like so the easiest way for us to get data was basically to tap into this MLS database, right?
Mhm.
And so I think Brian had reached out to a couple firms that like they were kind of brokers for these data,
Mhm.
like these MLSs, and they were quoting us something like $3,000 a month just for one MLS, right? Because the way that this is structured is there's like an MLS is only like a local area, right? So like
Mhm.
the St. Louis area might be one MLS, and there's
Mhm.
probably like 10 in like
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Wow.
it's not really scalable, you see, because you're going to have to be paying a
$3
lot of
grand
money.
per list.
Yes, exactly,
Oh,
per area,
ooh, baby.
right?
Good God.
And
Columbia is a different MLS
Right,
too.
right.
Columbia is a
Kansas City is
different.
the different.
yep,
Kansas
yep,
City, Chicago, Tampa,
yep.
Tempe. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Springfield, Illinois is a different MLS.
Right. Southern Illinois would be different from yeah.
And
Ooh-wee.
so we were actually pretty close to pulling the trigger on that, actually, just because we didn't really see any way around that. And
Right.
but then at that point, I was like, oh, what if I become a real estate agent? And I had been thinking about it already.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can use because I know. And then like I reached out to my broker at that point, and asked her if it was possible for me to get the data and upload it, like basically like upload that data onto some kind of website, right? And they said,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like every agent gets their own like unique key, which they have access to
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. And so I just became an agent, and I think the fees for accessing MLS as an agent is like $25 per month or
Of course
something
it
like that,
is. Of
right?
course it
It's
is.
because it's subsidized or
It's
something,
gang,
right?
gang. Yeah.
So we're not going to also say that your uncle's a broker.
He's not a broker actually. He's
Oh.
an agent.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Gang,
yeah,
gang.
it's in your family though.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like it's already
No,
in your
yeah,
family.
it makes sense. Like if you want this information,
Uh-huh.
you got to join the gang. And once you get in, it's cool. Like it
Sure.
makes sense. Like most of the things in life, especially capitalistic society we live in, it's a bunch of fees. The
Yeah.
money's in the fees.
Right.
Off the
right.
top, here's my penny. Always the penny. Them pennies add up.
Yeah.
I'd rather be the service person. It's like think about back in the day, the person that controlled the trade routes tax both ways because you want to get through safely. So I get it. Yeah, capitalism, cold blooded.
I just one thing about EDUrain I really like is that it seems like both of our families have kind of opened the door for us
Mhm.
in a way. Is family being in real estate, my cousin's running in politics.
They go hand in hand.
Like I was, the one of the deans at one of the schools we were talking to was a pastor here in town, and my cousins that run in politics were pastors. And there's you look like so and so. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my cousin. And they're like, oh okay,
Yeah.
good thing I decided to talk to you.
Yeah. You just never know. Like life is to be lived, and they can't be afraid to take that chance of whatever comes from it. You never know. Life rewarded to those that choose to live it. So where's the diversity in the culture you guys are building with EDUrain?
You want to answer that one?
Yeah, sure. So I think like so we have advisors from many different industries, and I think that's certainly helped us, like not just from edtech, right? Because we're in edtech, obviously we want edtech advisors, but we have people who are like VP of like marketing at like Spectrum, right? And I think the fact that they come from such a diverse background gives us an edge over a lot of our competitors, just because they often point out things that we would never have, I guess, considered ever, right? And so like,
Right.
their advice is invaluable to us, I would say.
Can we give like a round of applause for like Susan McLaughlin?
Yeah. She's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. You like whenever you're like building a team and a culture and a company, um, and like you can have a bunch of advisors and mentors, but if you don't have somebody that has been with you for a long time, that's an advisor. Like somebody can tell you the wrong thing or the
Yep.
wrong way, and like sometimes it's like just taking in information and sitting with that advisor and like, okay, what do we actually do with this?
Yeah.
Because we get hit with a lot of information all the time. And on top of like being hit with that information, because it's higher ed, so there's like and like the pandemic happened, things were changing. There were so many things happening at once that and also like I'm not the strongest writer in the world. I'm a really good speaker, but I'm not the strongest writer in the world. And I also tend to go off in tangents. And Susan training me on like, what data points mattered. What are on focusing on the hard hitting things instead of some of the feel good messaging, and then also switching whenever we need the feel good message and get away from the hard hitting facts sometimes. And she just is somebody that is phenomenal.
Yeah. So she's the VP of marketing that I was telling you about. She's incredible.
Yeah, and I bet, and also her life experience too, outside of work, is invaluable to you guys because she's been through things you guys may go through, may not go through, but her being able to interpret her life experience to match her business acumen is invaluable to you guys because she's saving y'all maybe some headaches in the long run. And just having someone that's been over there, have seen the wolves, what they are, can come back and say, hey, this is how it works out. Let me save you guys some heartache. Every great person has a mentor they run to. And hopefully we all could become a mentor to somebody to keep that energy going. I'm with you on that one. Who get left out in the process that you guys are including with EDUrain? So who's often left out that you guys will make sure that it's being included in this process?
I've interviewed thousands of folks about this, about financial aid and housing. So I went to 3 different high schools. Alton, Illinois, Alton High School, Roxana, Illinois, RHS, and O'Fallon Township High School in O'Fallon, Illinois. And in those small schools, it's one guidance counselor, like 1 or 2 guidance counselors for 600 to 700 people. When I was, Roxana is like a small, I would say 97% white school. And I was interviewing people that come from schools like that, and more in the middle of nowhere, like when your guidance counselor doubles as the math teacher, I mean, it's a struggle bus right there.
Yeah.
And then when you go to a school like Alton High, where, you got 3 guidance counselors for 2,000 kids, or like, 1 or 2 a grade when they got, one grade is 400 or 500 kids.
Good gosh.
And then like, that's why these kids have $30,000 in debt or they don't go to school. Right. And also like, when it comes to housing, sometimes you just don't know what's the best one for you.
Yeah.
We were doing some research on student properties on like the student side and the landlord side. And some of these kids, like, I wish I would have known that my landlord was going to suck at maintenance requests.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known that. So those are tools and things that we're trying to build towards. Like, how do we figure out, how do we put that together? And like, how do we actively reward good landlords? I think, good landlords that have like fair price properties and also are willing to fix them when they're broke.
Yeah.
And are willing to, make sure the number one thing that kids have is a environment that is setting them up to succeed.
Yeah.
And also not have an environment where it's like, all right, y'all, it's lights out, because nobody wants to live with that. That's why that's why, yes, it's not the penal system. That's something, that's why kids move off campus. They don't want an RA. I used to be an RA at Lincoln College. So, and so I know what it's like to live in on-campus housing and to work in on-campus housing.
Yeah.
So, ultimately what I'm saying is like that those kids that don't have those resources for financial aid, they can't pay for financial aid help. I talked to about 40 kids who paid for a financial aid counselor personal for them. and they know the ins and out. And I'm like, well, not everybody can afford that.
Mhm.
And then two, helping kids find the best properties and landlords that want to support them through school. And the number one thing to that landlord is renting these kids that are going to be successful.
Yeah.
And how do we and also trying to figure out how to reward that?
Reward
There's
the behavior.
landlords that are left out too.
Yeah.
That have price awesome properties.
Mhm.
So that, like for example, like my landlord, shout out to Sam.
Shout out to Big Sam.
I pay $450. I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it has an awesome rooftop.
Sir.
Uh,
Okay, we're talking about that off the air. I didn't even know what. I don't even re-enroll in school. I was like, in St. Louis? What?
I don't
Go
live.
ahead.
I don't live. I live 3 miles from SLU and 4 miles from WashU.
Oh, man.
But I don't live in a bad area. It's I pay $450. My roommate
Mhm.
pays $550.
Mhm.
So
Neither one of those is bad. Like, I'm not mad yet.
and he had come and fixed the stuff at our place. How do we help landlords like him?
So he can hopefully make more money to buy more property, do it again. Like, how do we help him help us?
Right.
Mhm. That's dope. Wow, that's dope. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up very shortly, but I'm gonna hit you with this. What makes your startup unique?
I think that's me. You have
That should be a
me to
little
go
bit of
for
both
that?
of y'all. Yeah, we
Okay.
can close out on a strong one.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll talk about the housing module just because like that's what I've been focusing on technical wise for the past while actually. And so I think the biggest driver for us is the fact that we partner so unlike apartments.com, right, which most of the kids like most of my friends use that to find housing nowadays.
Mhm.
But that's not really tailored towards students, right? It's
It's
like
not. It's not really fair at all for no one.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's just like if you want to find housing, right? But I guess what we want is only like landlords who specifically want students because that's a very different demographic
Yeah.
from just your standard landlord, right? Who's more looking for, let's say, a single family to like rent out your property for like the next 10 years or something.
Mhm.
Like student landlords know what they're getting into, right?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the drivers, and the other one is the fact that we have all these partnerships with these colleges, right?
Mhm.
Which makes us like very very attractive to landlords, and at least in the St. Louis area right now,
Mhm.
they're very very excited to hear that we're building up this platform, and they're and they don't need any convincing to come on just
Mhm.
because of the student body that we give them access to,
Yeah.
and then from the student facing side, I would say it's they have vetted landlords, right? And so Brian was telling me about this problem, which I didn't know about before, about slum landlords,
Mhm.
where a lot of like landlords are pretty shitty, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we make sure that every landlord that comes onto our platform is vetted, and they want students, and they're actually high quality
Yeah.
landlords, right? So
That's dope.
I think some of the uniquenesses. I think one of them is our combination as a team.
Mhm.
I'm a very different person than him.
Mhm.
I'm a very agreeable person, but I'm also like very like I'm very as agreeable as I am. I also use that as a leadership technique.
Mhm.
I always try to find a way the least the least common agreeable thing that I can get for both of us to move forward towards a positive goal.
Mhm.
Like it was just recently when Aaron was like, he's like, I'm a disagreeable person. I don't like to agree with a lot of things. And to me, I'm like, I'm like, what? You're always agreeable to me, but I'm like, oh, that's because I see everybody as agreeable. And I'm
Mhm.
always looking to make everybody agree with me and agree
Right.
with thoughts. And because like there's been whole research teams that I brought on. I'm like, can we make Aaron feel comfortable with this? Can we make him because he doesn't trust anything but that principal investigator in him, and me bringing on people to do projects with us because it's kind of like they see me and we're gonna help out this guy, and then like Aaron comes in and is like. And it's like a whole different conversation. I'm like the warm, fuzzy feeling person, and here's why we do it, and let's band together. And he's like, we're not doing anything that don't make sense. And I think that is why our partnerships have worked, and they're always growing. Like Stacey Thomas, like this that class that we work with. Usually she does like one startup. She does it like once. She does it every semester with us.
Mhm.
And like, for example, in the last semester, so the last 2 semesters, we probably had 55 students work on market research projects with us
Wow.
in class in the Olin Business School at WashU. And it's because that combination of like they want to help out somebody like me, somebody that comes from foster care, somebody that has $60,000 in debt, somebody that was waiting tables, and is like trying to build that business to like pull himself out of poverty, pull himself up, and also like change how higher ed works.
Yeah.
But also somebody like Aaron, like that actually has the know-how to actually go and build it.
Mm-hmm.
But need somebody like me to be running around and actually galvanizing the troops to push something forward.
Yeah.
I personally think I would not be successful if I didn't have Aaron, and
Right.
I also don't think Aaron would go and build something like this if I didn't tell him what I was already doing and galvanize him towards this way as well.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Yep.
I personally, I think that is the thing that is unique about this. You're not going to go find another platform in America where the leader is a guy that was in foster care that is LGBT, that is Black, that is the most marginalized, that is leading it and leading the way. And also like the fact that we did so much research on competitors. We're interviewing hundreds of users from other things. We're checking documents and reports. We were watching them pitch. We were looking at their Crunchbase. And then we threw all that research and we threw it to our research teams. And we're asking the question, with the least amount of money, how do we get the farthest that we can get?
Right. Wow. I want to sign up. I want to go back to school so I can be in this process as well. I'm motivated. I'm motivated to do a lot more and do a lot better. All right. Well, that was the first of many episodes of Founders Corner. And we welcome you to EDUrain from Founders Corner. And we have our fabulous founders.
I'm Brian Pearson again.
Aaron Zhang.
I am Marcus Onesimus Boston. Love yourself, love each other, and love is all we got.